1858 9G, which remains the subject of the conditional use permit review. Overall, the proposed parking supply exceeds minimum requirements and provides adequate capacity for customers and staff. The street frontage landscaping is provided along Peach Avenue, Peach Court, and North Central Ave, including a combination. So the CMU district doesn't require perimeter landscaping when adjacent to other commercially zoned parcels. However, 18162 and the city's general site design standards require appropriate streetscape plantings, parking lot landscaping, and stabilization of disturbed areas. The applicant's landscape plan demonstrates compliance with these expectations. Street frontage landscaping is provided along North Peach, et cetera, including a combination of large deciduous trees, medium ornamental trees, and supplemental turf and ground cover areas. These plantings enhance corridor aesthetics, soften the extent of paving, and maintain required visibility clear zones at driveway intersections and vision triangles, as indicated on the plans in the pack. Within the site, landscape islands are distributed throughout the parking areas and planning consistent with the requirements for internal parking lot landscape supporting, etc. So overall, the proposed landscaping treatment meets applicable zoning requirements and provided an appropriate level of enhancement for a redevelopment site with 3 public-facing frontages. This is additional information. Again, as part of a CUP process, the state of Wisconsin, per statute, requires us to answer these questions. If you are so interested, I recommend you read the staff report just for compliance for the state statute. And additionally, the Plan Commission can make the following recommendations: approval, denial, or table the request for further study. The staff recommends an approval of a conditional use request by Panda to allow a deviation for the required forward stacking distance under 1858 9G for proposed restaurant with drive-through facilities. A certified under the condition that a certified map establishing the development parcel shall be submitted and approved by the city prior to the issuance of zoning and building permits. A resolution to follow.
Okay, thank you, James. Public hearing is now open. Are there any comments in public hearing? Are there any comments in public hearing? Seeing no public hearing comments, public hearing is closed. Anybody on the Plan Commission have any questions? Yes, John.
Move to accept staff recommendation.
I have a question.
Second that.
Okay.
Gonna go for it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. John and Councilman O'Reilly. And yes, Jocelyn.
Yeah, my question is, where does the 40 feet come from? Like, is that an arbitrary number? Because I feel like 18 is a big deviation away from 40.
Generally, the 18 feet or the 40 feet is to allow a buffer zone for when people are going through the drive-through. They essentially pull up 2 spaces. If you're assuming a vehicle is around 20 feet in length, they want to be able to move forward so they can continue the point of sale. So that 40 feet is a direct result of having forward queuing so they don't slow down production on their line, basically handling more point of sales and having staff go out a different entrance to deliver the food while they're still taking credit cards and swiping, et cetera.
What I'm hearing you say is it wouldn't impact traffic flow, it wouldn't impact vehicles in the street. It's really impacting the business and how many people it would impact their revenue because it would impact how many people they could get through the line.
And more specifically, when we initially had this, we've had multiple DRTs in order to consider this very point. And in order to meet the intent of that, we've worked with this team who's actually on the call tonight to help answer questions to identify a compromise. And so if you can take a look at the site plan here, you can see right here where I'm circling my mouse, there's 2 dedicated parking stalls across from this drive-through window, which is located here on this corner of the building. So we believe as a staff, it is a fair compromise to forward the stacking in 2 dedicated stalls across a 2-way circulation pattern. And that is relatively consistent with other laws. And, this is part of a prototype design that Panda implements everywhere. So I have to assume, and I can check with the design team, that this is a relatively common practice in order to facilitate stacking requirements.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? We have a motion and a second. And we'll have a roll call.
Mayor Teesbeek,
Yes.
Councilmember O'Reilly,
Yes.
Councilmember Caprillion.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I just made you a council member. You can be a commissioner right now, if that's what, you can be whatever you want to be tonight, okay? Commissioner Bernardi,
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell,
Yes.
motion is approved. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you very much for that. Item number 8, preliminary subdivision plat review request by Dustin Verland on behalf of Jeffrey Hill for the proposed Back Nine Estates subdivision located to the northwest of the intersection of McMillan Street and St. Joseph's Avenue, parcel 250-2603-314-0930 and parcel 250-2603-314-0954. Presenter, James Levin, City Planner.
Thank you, Mayor. So the developer is interested in subdividing the subject parcels into 17 single-family residential lots and 1 outlot. The subject parcels are located on the north central side of the city and is located to the north of McMillan Street and to the west of St. Joseph Ave. Both parcels are zoned SR2, single-family residential, and consistent of approximately 25.37 acres. A copy of the preliminary plat is included in the packet for review. The proposed subdivision is located within SR2. The minimum lot requirements for SR2 district are as follows. Lot area, 14,000 square feet. Lot width, 80 feet. Front setback, 30 feet. Side setback, or street side setback, 20 feet. Side setback, 10 feet. Rear setback, 25. And maximum building coverage of a lot is 30%. All of the proposed lots will meet the minimum requirements of all future proposed houses, and all future proposed houses will need to meet the zoning code requirements for the district at the time of building permit approval. The subdivision code requires the applicant to designate buildable areas, including setbacks and area of the plat for each lot that is created by the proposed subdivision. The applicant did not include this in the initial submittal, and this will need to be submitted and reviewed. However, the proposed lots are large and there will be sufficient buildable area on each individual lot. According to the 2017 City of Marshfield 20-year comprehensive plan, this area is identified a new neighborhood mixed use and future land use map. The new neighborhood mixed use district is generally designated for larger areas intended for future development that is consistent of predominantly residential uses. Such areas should include a mixture of following land use types: single-family residential, two-family twin house residential, townhouse and multifamily residential, mixed residential, neighborhood office and business, institutional and public open space. Single-family residential and designated public open space should account for at least 50% of the portions of new neighborhoods suitable for development. This planning concept disperses higher density development throughout the community and limits the concentration of any one type of development in any one area. The city should look to encourage the developments that include neighborhood concept plans for the surrounding underdeveloped property to plan for future road, trail, park, and infrastructure expansion, as well as identify potential land use growth pattern for a neighborhood. This area is also identified as a stage 2 in the growth staging plan. The areas are particularly development ready and may require some form of utility and infrastructure expansion to initiate development or to fully develop. The proposed subdivision is located within the city's sewer service area. In addition, the comprehensive plan also recommends following the most current housing study for recommendation on housing. This is a study that was done in 2019, and it includes the following: fiscal health for the city through protection and growth of real estate tax base, and business and employment growth through the elimination of housing choice impediments. Objective 2.3 from the 2019 housing study stated that the city should work to increase the housing supply of new homes above $25,000. Strategy 2.9 of the plan is for the city encouraging the inclusion of some larger lots in new neighborhoods. Based on anecdotal evidence, the study found that there is a large demand for higher priced homes on larger lots in the city. The study recommended to encourage the inclusion of larger lots, such as 0.75 acres to 1 acre in size, as part of the mix of lot sizes in new developments. This specific development, all but 2 lots are over 1 acre in size. Throughout the housing study and the comprehensive plan, there were also recommendations to increase housing density and reduce utility and infrastructure extension to future maintenance costs by allowing smaller, not larger, lot sizes. In most areas of the city, staff would likely be less favorable to type of low-density residential subdivision due to the larger-than-desired lot sizes for a subdivision located within city limits. The proposed subdivision plat consists of 17 residential lots on approximately 25.3 acres, resulting in a gross density of roughly 0.67 units per acre. This low-density configuration suggests that the homes constructed within the subdivision would likely be high-end, custom-built residences, each contributing a substantial taxable value per household. From an individual property standpoint, this represents a positive fiscal impact, as these homes will likely fall within the upper tier of assessed valuations compared to typical single-family residences in the city. However, when evaluating the development from a land use efficiency and assessed value per acre perspective, the proposed subdivision is less productive. Because the subdivision spreads only 17 lots across 25.3 acres, the aggregate assessed value per acre is expected to be significantly lower than that of most other residential subdivisions within the city, which typically achieve higher densities. In other words, while each lot may carry a high valuation, the overall return on land and area measured in taxable value per acre is relatively modest. This dynamic is important to consider when assessing long-term fiscal sustainability and infrastructure cost recovery, as lower density developments also often require proportionally higher infrastructure investment per household while generating less taxable value per unit of land. Additionally, the Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Committee has not yet reviewed the proposed plat and will need to determine whether parkland will need to be dedicated to the city or if applicant shall pay parkland dedication fees in lieu of parkland dedication. The majority of the site is served by Northern Hills Park to the south of McMillan Street. According to the City of Marshfield 2024 to 2029 Comprehensive Outdoor Recreation Plan, the proposed subdivision is not located within an area identified as a potential expansion or development of parkland. Staff is recommending the PRF committee require parkland dedication fees in lieu of dedicating parkland. If required, the applicant is required to pay $200 per potential single-family dwelling unit, resulting in about $3,400 to be set aside in a non-lapsing fund to be used for purchase, development, and improvement of parks, playgrounds, trails, recreation, and open space at the discretion of the PRF committee. Additionally, for new subdivisions, staff review to determine whether sidewalks, trails, bike lanes, etc. are recommended to be dedicated to the public. There are 2 proposed bicycle and pedestrian facilities recommended along the boundary of the subdivision. A proposed on-road bike lane is proposed along St. Joseph Avenue, and an off-road trail is proposed along McMillan Street. After further review, staff does not recommend requiring dedication of a trail or adding a bike lane for this specific project. The plan recommends the city should consider requiring new subdivisions to implement some sort of pedestrian component, and the type of pedestrian component depends on the specific proposed subdivision. Recommendation of the plan 8 of the plan states, continue to improve the connectivity of the pedestrian network throughout the city. The recommendation further states to continue to plan and design for sidewalks and or trails for new development where practical and feasible. Adding these pedestrian facilities at the time of construction may be more cost and time effective. In addition, section 19-631E of the subdivision code, chapter 19, states that the sidewalks shall be installed on both sides of the street. Sidewalks shall be installed when the improvements are being constructed before a certificate of occupancy is issued. Exceptions to this requirement shall only be approved through a development agreement as identified in section 1963-7. So the proposed subdivision does not include providing sidewalks. Based on the requirements of the subdivision code and the recommendations in the bike and ped plan, the comp plan, the staff is still weighing whether to recommend that sidewalks are required within subdivision and provided along St. Joe's to connect McMillan Street. The Plan Commission and Common Council can waive this requirement with an approved developer's agreement, which is still pending. There's also an outlot, There we go. There is an outlot proposed to be utilized for stormwater pond for the new development. A stormwater management plan is required and requires review by the city's engineering department. The city engineer is currently reviewing these plans, but has not confirmed that the stormwater management plans are approved. There are a few portions of the subdivision that consist of wetlands, particularly in the north side of the parcel where the elevation is the lowest. The applicant is proposing to disturb approximately 9,950 square feet of the wetlands and proposing to fill those wetlands subject to a wetland fill permit from the Wisconsin DNR. Staff has reviewed the preliminary plat to determine conformance with the subdivision code. Generally, the proposed plat meets subdivision ordinance requirements, but staff is still reviewing, and there are additional items that the applicant will need to submit. One item that is not technically meeting recommended standards is the proposed width to depth ratio outlined in the code. Generally, depth to width ratio should be approximately 2.5 to 1 for lots, and lots 5, 6, and 10 appear to be exceeding this desired layout. The road configuration could change in the attempt to address this. However, staff believes this exception is reasonable based on the the current iteration of the layout of the subdivision. The applicant is also requesting that the proposed lots will be served by a private sewer instead of city sewer, typically connecting two city sewers required unless specifically exempted through the developer's agreement, which again is yet pending. Final thoughts. In general, staff encourages smaller lot subdivisions within city limits to promote higher residential densities, which help reduce utility and infrastructure costs for both initial construction and long-term maintenance, which is the city's responsibility. Higher density developments also tend to generate greater taxable value per acre, creating a stronger fiscal impact for the city over time. These principles support efficient land use and sustainable municipal service delivery. However, the proposed subdivision presents unique circumstances and benefits that warrant consideration, and for these reasons, staff is comfortable with a positive recommendation. High-end housing within city limits. The subdivision will introduce premium custom-built homes to the city's housing stock, a product type that is currently limited within city limits. This diversification strengthens the city's ability to attract and retain professionals in higher-income households. 2, proximity to the Marshfield Medical Center. The location near the hospital campus makes this subdivision particularly appealing to the medical professionals and executives who value convenience and accessibility. This proximity may enhance the city's competitiveness and attractive talent to the healthcare sector. 3, limited expansion potential. The site is effectively constrained by existing neighborhoods located in the town of McMillan to the north and west, creating a natural dead end for the future city growth in those directions. If the area had significant expansion potential, staff would likely recommend a higher density layout to maximize land efficiency. Given these constraints, the proposed low density design is more acceptable. Strategic utility installation. While the subdivision itself is low density, the installation of the utilities could serve as a catalyst for the future development of East St. Joe's Ave, where expansion opportunities exist. This forward-looking infrastructure investment could support more efficient growth patterns in adjacent areas. 5, market demand and community image. High-end housing developments can enhance the city's overall image and marketability, signaling a strong and diverse housing market. This can have indirect economic benefits, including increased attractiveness for employers and potential new residents. Traffic and neighborhood compatibility. Low-density design minimizes the traffic impacts and aligns well with the character of surrounding neighborhoods, reducing potential conflicts and preserving community cohesion. And finally, transitional land use patterns. The subdivision's design provides a logical transition between the higher density city neighborhoods to the south and rural-style subdivisions to the north and west. This blending of development patterns help maintain visual and functional continuity, reducing stark contrasts in land use and supporting a balanced growth strategy. However, at this time, there were some items that were typically required in the Chapter 19 preliminary subdivision plat submittal that were not included, and the staff will need to review these items prior to giving a firm recommendation either way. Additionally, the development review teams, the DRT and Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Committee still need to review and have any comments and concerns addressed. For these reasons, staff is recommending tabling the item until they have all required materials. Staff will work with the applicant to ensure that the item is ready to review in the upcoming Plan Commission meetings. So at this time, the Plan Commission can make the following recommendations: approval, denial, or table. Again, the staff recommends tabling until we have further information.
Okay, public hearing is now open. Are there any discussions in public hearing? Any discussions in public hearing? Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Any discussions from the Plan Commission?
I just have one comment. I would like to see them require the sidewalk and potentially other pedestrian connecting, you know, whether that's trails or bikes. So I don't know when they get that information and bring it back. I'd like to hear more about that.
Those requirements are pending negotiations for the developer's agreement. However, according to the preliminary plat submission so far, they are actually providing a larger right-of-way. Typically, the city requires a right-of-way width of approximately 60 feet. Right now, the proposed right-of-way, pending to change and subject to approval work with Public Works Department, it's at 66. So, at this point, there might be a case for one way or another, if not including a sidewalk, having a wider right-of-way, but it's too early to be able to critically provide feedback on that.
And if I can add to that, I mean, eventually waiving requirements like sidewalk, curb and gutter, and municipal sanitary sewer, those decisions will be made by the Board of Public Works. But I think certainly if the commission wants to weigh in on a need for sidewalks, that's certainly something you can do into the process.
Yes, Mike.
Why is this coming forward if we're requesting to table it? Why didn't it just get tabled?
I'll let James add to this, but I think that we schedule it, put it on public hearing with notice in the paper, bringing people out potentially, hoping to get all the items together, but they just didn't materialize at the end here, something like that yet?
Correct.
Some items pending?
We were tasked with getting this on the agenda, and we had the submissions, and we're actively reviewing them when we flagged it between the planning department and Public Works that more work was actually necessary. And by that time, the agenda had gone out. We decided to use this as an opportunity to evaluate the planning aspects that were in the know. So at this point, this is one piece of evaluation that will need to be revisited once the entirety of the preliminary plat has been discussed and worked through with Tim and Josh and the team.
I'll make a motion to table it.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? Yes, John.
Yeah, as we've talked about this, this area in the past, this particular plot of land, one of the major concerns from the city's perspective was the utilities and the sewer. It sounds like the sewer's been figured out, but I would expect that when Public Works is done, they'll be able to give their opinion on the viability of providing utilities to these lots.
Yeah, the discussions with the developer have centered around the idea that perhaps we could waive the municipal sanitary sewer requirement in, that could be private septic, but that we definitely wanted to make sure public fire protection was made available. Therefore, the water requirement was kept. That city water must be provided to the site. But again, this all can be reviewed yet. It hasn't gone to the Board of Public Works for final determination yet.
Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, we'll take a roll call.
Certainly. Commissioner Mitchell?
Approve the table.
Commissioner Bernardi?
Approves table.
Commissioner Caprillion?
Yes.
Councilmember O'Reilly?
Yes.
Mayor Teestrake?
Yes.
The motion to table is approved.
Thank you all. Item 9, master sign plan application request by Jill Rowling with the Elevant 97 signs representing Weinbrenner/Thorogood Shoes for new signage on their new site location, 3705 South Cherry Avenue, parcel 33-035848-2, Zone IP Industrial Park. Presenter, James Levin, City Planner.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to the representatives from Weinbrenner who have shown up today. Weinbrenner Thorogood Shoes has constructed a new building on the south side of the city, east of the intersection of South Cherry Ave and Downwind Drive. The site has frontage on South Cherry Avenue, Commerce Drive, and Enterprise Drive, with 3 access points, one each on South Cherry, Enterprise Drive, and Commerce Drive, and an approximate 68,162 square foot manufacturing facility offering retail and office space. As part of this new development, they are requesting a large amount of signage to direct traffic within the site and to provide advertising primarily along South Cherry Ave, with additional signage on Commerce Drive and Enterprise Drive. In addition, this project is located within Mill Creek Business Park. It is zoned industrial park, surrounded by industrial and employment uses, and subject to both city zoning and private covenant restrictions. A master sign plan shall be used to establish criteria and to govern the construction of all signs associated with the use for which a master sign plan has been approved. I'm going over this just because we've not done a lot of master sign plans in the recent past, and I'm providing a reminder of its importance. A permit will be required for individual signs following or in conjunction with the master plan sign approval. Signs constructed in violation of an approved master sign plan shall be considered in violation of this sign code. Existing master sign plans effective as of the date of this chapter may include to be in effect if exceptions to the previous design code have been granted. So additionally, there are applicable sections of the municipal code that we are adhering to as part of this review. Section 2410, which includes the regulations governing master sign plans. 2410-2 states that a master sign plan shall be required in the following circumstances. 2 or more signs are installed that do not meet all of the individual sign standards. 2 or more signs that are proposed for a campus district or non-residential group or large development. Signs in a campus district or large group development that exceed 50 square feet in area. An amendment to an existing master sign plan, which is not applicable. And ultimately, the zoning administrator determines that a master sign plan is needed because of the project characteristics, which I will not list for you at this time. Section 2404 limits each lot to 2 square feet of signage per linear foot of street frontage. Where a lot abuts multiple frontages, this total sign area that is oriented towards that particular street may not exceed that portion of the total sign area allocation in addition to individual sign type requirements. The applicant has provided square footages for the total existing and proposed language, which I will get to later on in this presentation. For now, here we go. In summary, the applicant is requesting 771.65 square feet of signage. The total allowable signage for the lot is 4,908 square feet. All signs contained within this proposal are in accordance with and need no exceptions from the sign code, chapter 24 of the municipal code. If this master sign plan is approved and Weinbrenner Thorgood Shoes later needs additional signage, those signs may be approved administratively, provided they comply with Chapter 24. Should any new signage be requested that would need an exception to the sign code, then this master sign plan would need to be amended. So I would like to also add to that we are also, the applicant is also required to get approval from the Mill Creek Business Park Covenant Committee, which came to my attention rather recently. So pending a conditional approval here, which we recommend as a staff, we will immediately try to convene with the Mill Creek Business Park Covenant Committee to get approval from them as well, allowing the applicant to proceed.
What's your pleasure?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions, comments? Seeing none, we'll take a roll call.
Mayor Tischbeck,
Yes.
Councilmember O'Reilly,
Yes.
Commissioner Caprillion,
Yes.
Commissioner Bernardi,
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Item 10, request by the City of Marshfield for consideration report on the approval of the certified survey map, which includes right-of-way dedication for East 22nd Street, located to the east of the intersection of South Nikolai Avenue and East 22nd Street. Presenter, James Levin, City Planner.
Thank you again, Mayor. This is mostly just a summary of procedural policy and coordination considerations. So the city recently received a certified survey map showing a dedication of a right-of-way to extend the East 22nd Street right-of-way to the east of the Nikolai Avenue and 22nd Street intersection. The city is requiring to dedicate the portion of real property as right-of-way as recommended on the city's official map. Per Wisconsin State Statute 62.23, the Plan Commission should review and provide comment to this request prior to final action by the Common Council. Earlier this evening, the Board of Public Works has approved to take this recommendation further to the Common Council pending Plan Commission approval. So the subject area, 22nd Street, located east of Nikolai Ave, was originally indicated as 60-foot reserve for future right-of-way on the Wood County CSM number 7189, recorded in the year 2000. On June 10th, 2025, the Common Council approved adding the segment of 22nd Street to the city's official map as proposed future right-of-way. The city already owns the northern 30 feet of the proposed right-of-way, and approval of the CSM requires the southern 30 feet of future 22nd Street street to be dedicated to the public as right-of-way as indicated on the CSM. Attached is an aerial photo that shows the current property and parcel configuration. A draft of the CSM is also attached in the packet. The certified map has been reviewed by the city staff and has been approved contingent on Plan Commission and Board of Public Works review and Common Council approval for right-of-way dedication. If approved, the CSM and resolution will authorize city signatures and CSM and on the CSM and acknowledge that the city is accepting the additional right-of-way dedication. So at this time, the Plan Commission does not require a vote, but if any comments will be are needed to be made, we can forward it to the Common Council immediately following this meeting.
Any questions from the Plan Commission? Seeing none, you can refer it on to the Common Council. Thank you. Item 11, staff updates.
I have none this evening.
Item 12, items for future agendas. Seeing none, we are going to adjourn the meeting. Thank you all. Thank you, James.